What is going on, everyone? My name is ArkhamFan30, and today we're going to be doing a new playlist of videos, which is just simply titled Movie Reviews. And to kick this off, I'm going to be reviewing the new MCU movie, which is Doctor Strange. And is this a movie to talk about? Doctor Strange was very much a surprise to me because I don't read the comic books for Doctor Strange. I mean, I mainly read the DC comics. I don't really read that much Marvel. But not knowing any of the source material, I still walked out of this movie really enjoying it, and it is, I would say, one of the better MCU movies. And there's a lot of good MCU movies, so that is saying a lot about this movie. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick spoiler-free synopsis of what this movie is about, just in case you're living under a rock and have no idea what this movie is. So, essentially, Dr. Stephen Strange is like the best physician. He's the best of the best, and he gets in a car wreck that causes like severe damage to his hands. And no matter how many surgeries he goes through, he can't get his hands to be fixed, so his hands are always shaking non-stop. So, what he does is he wants to get his hands back so that way he can do more surgeries and everything, get his life back together. So he seeks out this temple in some country. I can't remember the name of the country, but it's some weird Kambaja, something like that, Kambaja or something like that. Anyways, when he seeks out this temple, he finds it and he's introduced to the Ancient One, who teaches him the world of magic and teaches him how to cast sorceries and all that kind of stuff. So pretty much that is the basic idea of what the movie is without getting into any spoilers. Now, introducing the world of magic to the MCU is actually a good thing, because I'm one of the people, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but I'm starting to get tired of the MCU. To me, all of the recent movies have got the same formula, and they follow almost the same route, and they all have useless villains or forgettable villains. I mean, and it's just, I don't know. And this movie is a refreshing take to the MCU, which is a good thing. Like, this movie is like being on acid and looking through a telescope while you're on acid. And that's actually a good thing, and it sounds weird to say that, but that's what this movie is. Because the animation, visual effects, CG, everything was just so good in this movie. And that's probably the most important thing, because if the magic, because this movie is based around magic, if the magic fails, the movie fails. And the good thing is that neither of those failed. Like, it was done good. And Benedict Cumberbatch was the best thing in this movie. Hands down, like, he was good in this movie. Now getting back on track, let's just go over some of the positives. Now, the first thing I have that's a positive is not really related to the movie, but it's the, you know how every Marvel movie they have like the comic strips going up and down, and then it has the Marvel logo? Well, in this movie they changed it up to where, like, while the Marvel Studios logo is like coming up on the screen, it shows like all the Avengers and all the other movies that happened in the past in the logo while it's like doing the thing. And I thought that was really cool. And I already went over that Benedict Cumberbatch was the best part of this movie. Also, this, like I said, this movie is trippy as hell. This is like, I was watching it and there was just like one scene, I'm not gonna say what scene it was. I felt like my head was like spinning in all different directions, because it was like, I don't even know. And I already went over that this movie was different from any of the other MCU movies, which is a good positive in my book. Really good, refreshing take. Also, the villain was good in this movie. Now, the MCU has a very bad reputation of villains. Like, oh my gosh. Like, they've only had one good villain, and that's Loki, but he hasn't resurfaced. I don't know. All the other villains are killed off. I mean, all you have is Loki, and Loki's the best villain, and, I mean, he's a good villain. It's just, come on. MCU, really? But, anyways, this villain, I can't remember his name for sure, but, like, he had, like, this sparkly eyes and all that kind of stuff, and he was, like, a worshiper of Dormammu, or whatever his name is, and he was good. Like, he served a purpose in this movie, I feel like. I feel like not a lot of MCU villains actually serve a good purpose in the films, but in this one, I feel like the villain is not just a throwaway villain. I feel like this is a good, solid villain. Not the best villain in the MCU, but certainly one of the better ones. Also, the after-credit scenes were good. The mid-credit scene is hilarious. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but and then the very end, it sets up for the sequel, and it looks pretty good. Now, with all those positives being said, unfortunately, there are some negatives in this movie, because not all movies are perfect, besides Deadpool. What? But one of my main issues in this movie is that it feels like in some areas it drags on way too long. Just like it gets boring at some point. And I had the same problem with Civil War. It just drags on too much, and I end up getting bored halfway through the movie, and I end up want to go to the bathroom. And I mean, that's not good. If the movie is wanting me to miss a few minutes of the movie, to go to concession, go to the bathroom, whatever, that's not a good thing. So unfortunately, that's an issue. Still a good movie, don't get me wrong, it just drags on a little too much. Also, as much as this movie is hilarious, there's just way too much forced humor. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, in every scene in this movie, there is at least one comedic joke in every line of this movie. Like, this movie probably has more jokes in it than Guardians of the Galaxy. And I mean, some of it was good, some of it was freaking hilarious, some of it had me laughing on the floor, like cradled, rocking back and forth, like laughing with tears rolling out of my eyes. But some of it was just way too forced in, and it wasn't as funny as it should. And also, whenever he does go to learn magic, there's not a time span. It doesn't give you an exact time of how long he was there. You just assume he was there for a couple months, a couple years, a couple days, and give you an exact time of how long he was there. You just have to assume he was there for at least a couple years, or a couple months, at least close to a year at least. But honestly, like, that's all the negatives I could have about this movie. It's not too much, but it is enough not to make it a perfect movie. But overall, I'd say that this movie is a very good time in the theaters, and I would really recommend watching it in IMAX 3D. I unfortunately didn't get to watch it in IMAX 3D. I watched it in the standard 2D. But this is one of the movies that I feel like I would want to see in IMAX. Like, the visuals, the 3D, I feel like would be so good. My ranking for this film is a solid B. It's a fantastic movie. There's just a few flaws in it that's keeping it from getting a higher level. Right now, this movie's sitting at an 85. Awesome movie. Really recommend it. And also, please comment down in the comment section on how you like this video. And if you want to see more, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And also, let me know what you guys think of the Doctor Strange movie, because I want to know, and I want to have a conversation with you guys. So anyways, see y'all later.